Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here with your weekly bonus replay video. Today's featured ship is none other than the Tier 8 premium British battleship, the Vanguard, which is among what many would consider the worst battleships in game. See, the Vanguard's got a bit of a roller coaster ride with Warships. She was originally introduced way back in the day. I remember reviewing this thing when it first came out, and the channel was still quite small, man. And back then, she was seen as like an okay ship, nothing too crazy, but also nothing too terrible. You see, the Vanguard's thing is that she is the last ever commissioned battleship in the world. Jean Bar doesn't count. It was essentially stuck in IRL dev hell, right? So she was laid down way later than Jean Bar, and yeah, so that's why I consider her to be the last battleship ever launched. So, in game, when this ship was originally announced, many of us considered, like, okay, it's the last battleship ever launched, so, maybe she'll have, like some super accurate main battery guns to reflect that, or this, that, and the other. What we got was a very maneuverable battleship with some pretty mid 15-inch guns. As I'm sure you'll see here when Pebble starts to fire these guns, they are not really that accurate, but they have a decent reload with a base reload time. Let's see what Pebble's got his down to. Yeah, 25 seconds, okay? So it's, back in the day, it was like, okay, it's pretty cool. It's got like a sub 10-second rudder shift time, so it's very maneuverable. Use that to get your guns on target to compensate for the absolutely atrocious rear turret angles. Oh yeah, and we are watching Pebble drive his Vanguard, by the way. He's a member of TVIII, one of the TSAW family of clans, which is the channel's clan community. So if you want to join one of those clans, you can check out the link in the description down below. We have everything from more competitive leaning clans to just the casual clans for those of you guys that just want to chill and have a community to hang out with. So, first victim on today's list is the Hipper, which is the Tier 8 tech line German cruiser. Man, that was AP that, yeah, probably not. See, if that was AP, that probably would have been a little bit better of a strike, but I realized he only hit one shell and hit the torpedo tubes. But anyway, as you can see, the main guns of the Vanguard aren't really overly accurate. The Vanguard does very much suffer from the dual gun syndrome that a lot of ships armed with dual guns, that was a good salvo, that a lot of ships armed with dual guns do, and that is, well, the shells, for whatever reason, they decide to go pretty much everywhere else except where you aim. Seems like all those dual gun ships, with the exception of like Thunderer, have the same problem. But anyway, Vanguard also has an absolutely massive citadel, which this FEG is probably looking at right here. But that's supposed to be compensated for by the fact that it does have that quick rudder shift time, so you can quickly get your guns on target and then turn away. Now, so far, all that Pebble's had shooting at him was a bunch of cruisers, but this is an FDG with some much larger guns here. And it looks like he managed to throttle juke him by confusing the man by simply not running at full throttle. You'd be surprised what you do when you run your ship at like either half speed, 1/4 speed, or even 3/4 speed. It really throws off the enemy shots. But yeah, look how terrible these gun angles are. My God, woo-wee. So yeah, now it looks like he's sticking with HE, which is pretty much what you have to do with Vanguard nowadays. With all the ships she has to face, especially when up tier. This is a tier 9 game, by the way, so the Vanguard is up tier to this match, and the Neptune just took out the Albemarle, and then the Adatara took out the friendly Wujing, but the friendly Albemarle has managed to trade with the Neptune. So both ships are down, both teams are down 2 ships at this moment, and that was some quite close shells there for Pebble. Pebble is doing the noblest thing and running away from the high tier ships currently trying to murder him. And he is wiggling as he's doing so, and you're seeing the Vanguard's nice rudder shift time there, helping him avoid some of those shells. But yeah, with 15-inch guns at Tier 8, especially when you're up to Tier 9, you do pretty much have to stick with HE with the Vanguard. And that's where her good reload time does very much come into its own there. It helps you get those shells downrange, get those fires burning that much faster. So he's got a heal come up here in a couple of seconds. Now, Vanguard. Why are we watching a Vanguard replay? One, because, well, the Valparaiso came out this week, and of course, many are calling it, oh, this is the buffed Vanguard. Wargaming just had to make another ship and charge us $137 for it, which is one reason why we're watching this replay, because, well, a lot of conversations are being had about how terrible the Vanguard is. This is the most unusual. Look how broadside he is, and he can't bring the front two turrets into action. That is crazy. And yeah, so it's bringing up a lot of conversation about how bad Vanguard is. And Pebble then threw this replay at me, saying, "Hey, Sealer, you should really check this out and see what happened in this replay." Two, I've always been a fan of Vanguard, despite it not really being that good. It's a ship that I do take out from time to time, and every now and then I have a pretty solid game in it, but I'm not going to sit here and act like it's an amazing ship when it's not, because it certainly is not in today's World of Warships. Broadside Adatara there, see, now I would be swapping to AP, because he is, oh, that's so juicy, that's so flat. And man, the Adatara does not have much armor because it is a battle cruiser. You might have AP queued up right now. The replay doesn't really show that. But the Adatara, no, he's going to be forced to sell in a straight line because of that island right there. So see, does Pebble load AP? He does not. He sticks with the HE. Granted, it is working. He's got 2 fires on the Adatara right now. Probably about to get to 3. Nope. The Adatara has now damage. Now he's got AP going in. There we go. Good job, Pebble. As that does look like a juicy target. There comes in some more AP from, I think it was the Bolognese over there. Ooh, the Adatara is looking at him now. And, okay, thankfully that was some overpins there. Okay, Adatara is kind of angled in. Oh, but he swapped back to HE. So he does have expert loader on the Vanguard. And, ooh, just misses him there. But does somehow manage to take out an AA mount with his HE shells there. So Pebble is quickly racking up the potential damage here, up to 1.8 million potential so far. He's basically holding off this entire flank by his lonesome self. He's holding off an FDG, an Adatara, a Colorado, and a Bolognese by himself out wide here. He's trying to keep them from pushing up too fast on his enemy team, on his friendly team's western flank. Alright, he's got 1 fire on his ship right now. Sit rep. Enemy team is currently down 4 ships to the friendly team's 3 ships. But the western flank is in the process of falling. Pebble is managing to slow them down for a bit here. Ooh, Adatara does miss. Okay, cool. He's over 2 million potential damage so far now. I guess 1 hit on, I believe that was a Colorado he took a shot at. Still have a full health, almost full health FDG pushing up on the western side of the map. We are in arms race, so currently the midpoint is where you want to be. It looks like many of the green team ships are in the Thunderdome over in the eastern flank. You got a Jarlsveld here in the middle, but the Adatara, the Colorado, and the Vladivostok are much closer to the middle. Now the red team does still have a destroyer up. The Jaeger that was last spotted way out on the east. Friendly ZF6 is out there as well, so there are no destroyers around the middle. Michelangelo is in the middle for the time being, though, but he has an Adatara and a Colorado looking at him right now. FDG is still super wide. The Bolognese is also heading toward the middle, as of course the midpoint has spawned. Gets a fire on the Colorado. Ooh, the Bolognese got some shells into him there. And he's out of heals now. That was his last heal, ladies and gentlemen. And we are only 9 minutes into what is looking like it's going to be a very long match. The Lexington sinks the Adatara, but the Enterprise also sinks in Iowa. Ooh, red team's got an Enterprise too. That is not great. And there we go. The Vyazma has now sunk the ZF6. This is indeed not good. Are you guys happy? I said Vyazma kind of correctly. I think Vyazma just sounds more Russian, so I was saying like that. Sometimes I just say things because it sounds silly and goofy, because their names look silly and goofy. So sometimes I actually know what I'm doing. I know it's wrong, and I do it because it's funny. But anyway, Bolognese pushing up here, 12 kilometers away. He has his AP loaded now. So yeah, this is a tough call now with Pebble, because he doesn't have a heal. He has 2 of the healing buffs right now, but that's certainly not a consumable level heal in terms of the damage that you are recovering with that. So he has to be careful about what he does here. And again, he has to show so much broadside to get those guns on target. But he's looking at the FDG now, 12 kilometers away, get a little bit more broadside there. And even, yes, the Bolognese being 10 kilometers away bow in, he probably would have, well, he at least hit 4 shells on the FDG. They didn't do anything, but at least he hit them. Again, the struggles of having 15-inch guns in a Tier 9 game. Now, he can't overmatch the Bolognese here. if his shells cooperate. But you put HE back in the tubes. Gets a couple hits there for a nice chunk, 7,400 damage to the Bolognese. The Yarsveld sinks the Colorado, but let's see, the Bolognese and the FDG are both trying to sink the Yarsveld. Michelangelo takes out the Vladivostok with his torpedoes. Look at that. Alright, HE out on the FDG. This will probably start a fire because it is simply a German ship. There we go, 3 hits, but no fires. Alright, Bolognese is... what's he doing now? Looks like he tapped the throttles a little bit there to slow down. No, he's going back up again thanks to the Lexington flying overhead. Here comes some AP and some HE from the eastern flank. Enterprise takes out the Michelangelo, though. That Enterprise is going to be a real trouble. Ooh, down to 16k in front of an FDG. Ooh, this is a pretty hard call. Do you hit the stationary cruiser because he's stationary? Yes, I would do that because you did have AP in the tubes. Or the broadside Tier 9 battleship. That definitely needs to go down. There we go! Every now and then the stars align. 23k to the Bolognese. Ooh. Okay, FDG shells coming in. He's down at 60k. He's regenerating a bit of that because, again, he does have 2 healing buffs up. So rear turrets out on the Bolognese. Forward turrets out on the FDG. Very good. Killing the Bolognese. FDG shells coming in. Manages to avoid those and set a fire on the FDG. Okay, so they still have a Jaeger. They still have a Vyazma out there. The Vyazma is very scary. That's a battleship and a Tier 9 cruiser slot. So that is a source of concern. And it's got those improved shells with the burst fire mode and all that jazz. Well, the Enterprise has taken a liking to Pebble. Pebble has AP loaded in his tubes. Enterprise coming down and, only takes off about 3k HP, but when you're down to 16k HP, that's a bit. There we go. He gets Witherer and High Caliber in the Vanguard at 206,000 damage so far. Ooh, speaking of the Vyazma, that was very close. Down at 6,600 HP. He has gone dark now. So now the question is, where's this Jaeger? Because the friendly team does not have a destroyer left alive at this moment. So the Jaeger kind of has free reign to do kind of whatever he wants, which is bad. And we still have the Enterprise, which is a very scary carrier this late in the game because he really doesn't care too much about, the planes that get shot down because of his excellent regeneration rate. And look at that, he's launching still pretty much full squadrons this late in the game. There's the Vyazma, and there's a Yarsveld. Whoo! There was half of a Yarsveld. Ripped off half of his HP there. Looks like he did not have the burst up for him, though. And Pebble gets HE out on the Vyazma. Clips in the bow for 2,400. Oof, that's not something you want to see in a battleship. Oh, man, look at that dispersion on the Vyazma. 16-inch guns on a cruiser. All right, one of those torpedoes does not arm. He turns hard over. Turns those shells from probably a dead Vanguard into an overpin. Alright, Vyazma is now having to deal with what's in his face now? The Yarsveld. The Yarsveld does have those airstrikes, but the Vyazma does have her 16-inch guns. Ooh. Oh, he clips him and gets the kill on the Vyazma. Look at that. Look at that. So now we're down to the Jaeger, which we have not seen in a minute. And the Enterprise. We haven't seen the... no, those were the Jaeger's torpedoes now, I believe. Unless the Enterprise for some reason... Yeah. The Jaeger is going after the Tianjin and the Lexington. Very odd decision from the Jaeger. You see, the Jaeger could totally be in this cap. He's got the Enterprise providing him air support. He could be in this cap, owning this cap, and just flooding it with torpedoes. Enterprise gets some bombs off on Pebble's Vanguard, but not enough to sink him. They're very close to securing the cap, and looks like they're going to get it here, and this should really start to flood in the points for the friendly team, and there we go. He's at the 219,000 damage in a Vanguard, ladies and gentlemen. So you see, when the cap is secured, look at this. Look at this flood of points coming in. 10 points every tick. It is truly impressive, which is why you definitely want to go for the center point when you can. And yep, Jaeger is playing this like it's a ranked game. He's just going for damage. He might get the Tianjin here. Probably. Well, no, those torps look like they were spotted earlier. Assuming the Tianjin has Hydro. And they are pan-Euro torps, so yeah, he easily dodges them. Yeah, again, the Jaeger could have been having a field day if he ran south of A and just started throwing walls of torpedoes in here. Yes, they are the Pan-Euro torps, but I mean, with the Jaegers, your load rate and their speed, they definitely could have done some real damage to the friendly team. Probably definitely could have postponed the capture for quite some time, but no, he's wanted to go kill Tianjin for some reason. He's probably wanted to go after the carrier. But that is not what's going to happen here today. Enterprise, however, has been trying his hardest to delay the friendly team from winning, but even in an Enterprise, there's only so much you can do, and that is my Discord getting a ring and not yours. I do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. I'll probably mute that part of the video. So that was most unexpected. Anyway, so Pebble, 220,000 damage in a Vanguard, 2 kills, Witherer, Dreadnought, and High Caliber. Just shows you that, every dog has its day. Some of the worst ships in game, in a Tier 9 game, can still have pretty solid games when played right and things go their way. But yeah, Valparaiso definitely more broken than the Vanguard, but I thought it'd be nice to see the Vanguard do its thing in today's bonus replay video. So if you guys have a replay like this that's of a ship that's considered to be terrible, one of the worst in the game, and they do quite well, feel free to send it to me via the email in the description down below, or join the community Discord and send it to me there. Hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday, wonderful rest of your week. Thank you, Pebble, for sending this in to the channel. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.